And welcome into the Walker Bullington Show here on the Spring Hill College Athletics YouTube channel. Charlie Harrison, head coach of the Badgers, Walker Bullington with us. Coach, season is underway. You got 3 in this weekend, 1 in yesterday. Let's start talking about this past weekend. What are your takeaways from the series with Florida Tech?
I thought game one we came out and did what we thought we would do. That was kind of hit them in the mouth early. We swung it, we pitched it. You had some opening day mistakes, some errors and situations that we normally wouldn't make. But overall, day one, really, really good. Day two, these guys will tell you we just didn't swing the bats. Simple as that. I thought their starter in game three, he was mid nines, set pretty much around 97. He gave us some fits, but I thought it was more on our side of things. We talked yesterday about 2-0 and 0-2 counts, kind of controlling those. 0-0 counts as well. If it's 2-0 and it's in our favor, we did a pretty good job of bringing them back into at bats. 0-2, we didn't do a great job of extending those at bats, and 0-0, I thought at times we didn't know what we were looking for.
Right.
Going up with an approach and then kind of vacating that approach depending on score or situation. I said task oriented 15 times the last time we were on here. It's tough to do that opening weekend. A lot of first day jitters, big time situations, things like that. We just got to continue to be better at that piece, and we're going to be fine.
Now, I think it's really interesting. You talk about knowing when to extend a count, knowing when you're ahead, and then putting a guy away. It's got to be tough, especially here early on in the season. Guys aren't necessarily used to seeing new pitchers coming in yet, guys they haven't seen before. And it's got to be hard to kind of figure out, okay, here's where we are in a count. Here's what you're watching for pitch-wise.
Well, as a staff, we try to do as good of a job as we can of giving them a scouting report, especially on returners that we've physically seen, guys that we haven't seen before. We go out and find video. What's he like in this spot, this count? What's his stuff? But there's a little bit of paralysis by analysis as well.
Right.
Sometimes you go up and you miss something because the scouting report didn't say he was going to throw that in that situation, or scouting report said his slider's always down. Well, if it's an 0-0, it's probably going to be a get me over, right?
Right.
And if you hang it, we bang it. So it's about having information, and we talked about this pregame yesterday, having information to when that moment comes up, I'm prepared for it, but not molding my entire game and approach that day based exclusively off of a scouting report. Because
Right.
if staffs are doing their job, guys are doing their job, you want to be unpredictable, you're going to mix and match. Try to get as much information as we can, but I thought yesterday we came out and battled much, much better offensively at the plate, blending what I want to look for as a hitter versus what the game plan tells me to look for. Trying to find some commonality between those things to allow me to go out, look for one thing, do not come off of it, stick with it. And that's baseball. If you go up and I'm hunting fastball because 90% of the time he's going to throw it within the first 2 pitches and it's 3 off-speed pitches in a row for a strike, tip my cap and go sit down because it's not going to happen. So
Right.
I think it's a mixture of emotions, first weekend, pressure, and we just got to continue to get better. I mean, it's as simple as that. But, it was a 1-run loss, a 2-run loss, and last night was a back-and-forth game until the very end. They had 2 bigger swings than we did, but we out-hit them. We punched them out 15 times. I thought we were the better group last night. But in big spots, I think we got out of task-oriented and put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And I was talking to one of our team captains last night. It doesn't have to be this big thing. Okay, runner second and third, 1 out. We're down 1. This is my moment. Task oriented. What's my job? Hit a ground ball to the backside. We score a run. Next guy comes up. Now there's 1 out. Hit a ground ball to the backside. We score a run. We just mixed that job between 2 guys, but now it's a tie ball game where we just took the lead by 1 and we simplified. So I'm getting a little long-winded here, but I was thinking last night, how to come in here and approach this one today, because I know my guys are going to listen to this.
Yeah.
All right, they are. And I thought, okay, I can go in and put my arm around them and tell them it's okay. I can go in and challenge them and really call us out as a group. And then on the way here this morning, I was like, why would I come in here and say things that I don't believe? You know what I mean? I don't believe that we're a group that cowers under pressure. I don't believe that we're a group that can't do it, and that's just who we are, not hitting in big spots. I think back to last year, we had 2 solo home runs at a yard that there hadn't been a home run hit there. We did it in back-to-back innings to save our season.
There you go.
We have guys that are phenomenal on the bump, phenomenal defensively. We have to stop putting internal pressure on ourselves. Guys got to believe. They got to understand that it's early. continue to get better. The message that I would send these guys is stay the course, keep believing, right? Learn from what went right, what went wrong in your at bats, and get back central when it comes to my emotions and complete the task, right? Stick with it. We are a very, very talented ball club. We got to figure out ways to win. That's the one thing I will say. We're finding ways to lose right
Yeah.
now. And we got to find ways to win. To me, that's emotional. That's as a group figuring out what we need to do. And I think our leaders are already starting to step up and do that for us.
It's one of those things like being from the state of Alabama, we hear Nick Saban speak all the time, and you hear about the process. Everybody wants to go up and hit that game time home run, the lead changing home run. But sometimes it's just getting up there and getting that little swing in, getting that bunt laid down so the runner advances first to second. That makes all the difference in a game.
Moving a guy over again, and then scoring a guy. What you just said, I think is true. I don't think we have guys chasing numbers, but I do think we have guys chasing moments, right? Chasing things that are going to be memorable. I came up there, we're down two. There's two guys on. I hit the 3-run homer off the scoreboard, right? That's what we have to get better with, and we just got to continue to do job after job after job, and understand that you don't have to do it all in one swing, and the biggest thing I would say is our two-strike approach, right? So over the weekend, 25 innings of baseball, we struck out 25 times. They did not have the stuff to do that 25 times, but our 0-2 swing looked better than our 2-0 swing in terms of effort and intent. That has to change. So we talked about it yesterday. I thought early in the game we did a good job, but we played 9 innings last night. We punched out 8 times. So we are pretty close, one off actually from strikeouts to innings, and it's one of those things that just can't happen. That's something that to me is not physical; it's emotional. We have to continue to go out and force the issue, put balls in play, hit a ground ball, move a guy over, and we just are striking out too much at the plate. And I'll tell you this: those strikeouts have happened in big spots, and it's something that we just got to continue to get better with. Last night. Against Montevallo, a really good ball club that just took 2 out of 3 from Embry Riddle. We punched them out 15 times. We out-hit them, and we lost the game 7-3. You tell me that's not emotional, I don't know what else is, right? So they took advantage of big spots. We did not. They made a couple swings in big spots. We did not. They made a couple defensive plays in big spots. We did not. We had one bad inning defensively, and we had 2 big swings from them, and that was the difference in the game. And I think it's not that we're playing scared. It's more that we're playing to try to create those moments. It doesn't have to be this big thing. Continue to do your job. Move forward, onward.
Now, I do want to, while we're still on the subject of this past weekend in that Montevallo game, what kind of stood out to me going through the stat sheet? Unearned runs. 6 of the 10 runs allowed in Game 2 and Game 3 this past weekend were unearned. 3 of the runs yesterday against Montevallo. What's kind of not clicking yet in the field for you guys?
I mean, when you go across a weekend and a midweek game, you have a lot of guys where it's their first collegiate outing or it's their first start or first time playing in a year. Some of the guys coming back from injury, that stuff's going to go away. To be honest with you, the defense is something that I wasn't worried about.
Okay.
I thought we would come out and be solid defensively. It was physical mistakes led by mental mistakes, kind of hesitant going towards the ball. We've talked a lot about, attack the baseball, be aggressive and communicate. Some of that stuff goes out the weekend opening day. You're tight, you're still a little bit, you're hyper focused, and all of a sudden the ball finds you. You don't know whether you're going to get it or not. It was Bermuda Triangle, foul balls down the line. It was the chopper into the Bermuda Triangle in the infield where 3 guys are conversing. Those things will happen and we'll get better. But again, you really had one bad inning on Saturday against Florida Tech. You had one bad inning last night. But when you're playing these type of ball clubs and their starter's 97, or last night, Gurr on the mound for them was good. He's a fastball splitter. I thought we hit him around, and then their bullpen did a good job. The Bullard kid came in, threw it pretty well. But those one bad innings and then those one big swings, that's the difference. It's baseball. We play that game tomorrow with 10 hits and 15 punch-outs on their side. It may be 10-3 us.
Yeah.
Didn't fall that way last night. If our guys think that it's the end of the world, then it will be for them. It doesn't get any easier. We've got 3 on the road with Delta State this weekend, and then we're going to play AUM, and then it's conference, and then it's West Florida, and that's the good part about this thing is we're lacing them up and going again on Friday. There's not much time to dwell on it. I'm sure some guys did last night. I'm sure guys were having some talks with themselves, with each other. What's wrong? Why is this happening? Look, we're 1-3. It is what it is, right? What can we learn from it? And I think it's offensively continue to do your job, minimize that job in terms of its importance to you and what needs to be done. Make it a smaller job, compete pitch by pitch. We have to stop striking out. Got the errors and the jitters out the way, can't happen again, and realize that we have some really, really good arms that are going to give us a shot. We figured out offensively, we'll be fine.
And it's one of those things too. I think we sometimes get caught in the trap of, okay, it didn't go our way today, but I mean, there's a 3-game series this weekend. There's a midweek next week. There's a 3-game series next weekend. There's plenty of baseball left. We're talking about 4 games in a 60-game season.
Long time to have a bad season. We talked
Right.
about it last week. So 100%, and I love that it's another quality opponent. And I'll be honest, they're 1-3, and we're 1-3. Two clubs that thought, and I think this is one of our issues. Two clubs that thought, we're probably going to be 3-1, 4-0 going into this. Then all of a sudden you get hit in the mouth a little bit, right? Are we going to back up, or are we going to walk forward?
Right.
It's as simple as that. They're going to come out at 1-3. They played. They beat Palm Beach Atlantic. They lost 2 to Nova Southeastern, a really good ball club, and then lost to Lynn, another really good ball club. They're 1-3. We've went Florida Tech, Montevallo, 2 good ball clubs. We're 1-3. I don't think Delta State and Spring Hill are 1-3 teams, but I think they've had 1-3 moments, right?
Right.
Kind of playing 500 baseball when it comes to mentality, timely hitting, timely errors, whatever it may be. But we're going to be at their yard on the road, right? That they have a home field advantage there. They're going to have fans that are a little bit ruckus, and it's a tough place to play. It's a good environment for us, especially early in the year, to go in and backs up against the wall. Do we want to let this thing snowball, or do we want to go make a statement to ourselves, right? Not worried about anybody else, what people think, but make a statement to ourselves that we can go on the road against a really good ball club and give them everything they want, try to come back with a series win. And then you got to turn around and lace them up against a regional team again on Wednesday against AUM. So you're going to get opportunities to get the taste out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Right. It's do you want to make changes and adjustments emotionally, physically, and allow yourself to do that? And I think that we will. And it's just one of those things where I think guys need to not press the panic button yet. Live, learn, and continue to get better.
I mean, that's just baseball to a T, man. If you're playing at home, you want to win at home, of course, but shake it off if you don't. Go to the next thing.
Absolutely. And we're going to face a physical ball club. That's the thing. Montevallo, they're built to do what they did last night. They didn't play very well. We kind of dominated them on the mound. But 2 big swings and 2 big moments, they're built to run the ball out of the yard, right? Delta State's pretty similar. They have a lot of returners on offense. They're physical. Free swingers, they're 1 swing away from making it a ball game. So it's those 0 momentary lapses in focus. They're going to be 2-0, 3-0 swingers. They're trying to hit balls out of the yard. So no lapses in focus and just continuing offensively. We got to cut down the strikeouts, compete with 2 strikes, put balls in play, and we have to get back to playing our game a little bit, right? We have been really successful on the bases so far this year. I think we're 7 for 8, right? Which we try to be safe at that 85, between 85 and 90% clip. That's our goal.
Yeah.
We're on pace to do that. The numbers there, though, in terms of how many times we've been able to do that, aren't there. So we have 2 hits in Game 3 on Sunday. We scored 3 runs because of the way our offense is built, right? And
Right.
with the ability to bunt, run, steal bags, put some things on. So I think we have to blend those 2 things together. And it's another thing we talked about is getting back to playing our brand of baseball. For instance, Seth Williams hits a bomb last night. He hits a ball down the line, and then he comes up and drag bunt and beats it out for a base hit, right? That kind of thing that's not trying to be selfish, running and getting numbers. It's him realizing the drag and push is there, something we talked about with the way they're going to shift our hitters, and taking that, right?
Right.
Drag, lay it down, and get to first base. So a lot of that emotional stuff, I think if you can, again, go back to playing our style, first and third, laying the bunt down, right, moving a guy over with a sacrifice bunt, and then not thinking I have to hit a double in the gap to score him. I'm going to move him, and then the next guy is going to, sacrifice fly, score him. Those moments are going to get us out of scoring 3 runs. And yesterday, scoring 3 runs, we're kind of trapped at that 3 or 4 number. I also feel like baseball is a momentum sport, and the first big hit we do get in a big spot, it becomes contagious, right? Well, so does big swings in 0-2 counts becoming contagious. So getting back to task-oriented, understanding our brand and what style we want to play, and just continuing to get better with it.
Coach, we'll talk a little bit more about getting better on the other side of this. Thanks so much so far. We're definitely enjoying the content we're getting out of you.
Thanks.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Upcoming matchup with Delta State. We're going to be talking it over here on the Walker Bullington Show.
This is the way down a path that leads to a place upon the hill, led by thought leaders, activists, and Jesuit princes. Among the hill is where tradition and a strong desire to do and achieve reside, ingrained in rich tradition, filled with purpose, fueled by passion. Brink Hill College is for those who seek more.
Welcome back to the Walker Bullington Show here on the SHC Athletics YouTube channel. Coach, we talked about what went on this past week and what we've played so far. Mentioned it, 3 upcoming against Delta State this weekend. They're another one of those 1-3 ball clubs. That being said, they got into one of those kind of tournament situations. They got to see Palm Beach Atlantic, Nova Southeastern, and Lynn so far. I want to talk a little bit about the benefit of the way we're scheduled right now, where we're not opening up with one of these tournaments like a lot of teams are. What do you kind of feel is the benefit of that versus the detraction?
Well, you want to win every baseball game that you play. Our
Right.
guys do. I do. Our staff does. But for the staff and Fernando and myself, it allows us with a series and a midweek and getting straight into that format to figure out who can do it, what role are they going to be successful in, what are we doing with the bullpen, how many innings can he go, and I think getting a bunch of guys opportunities. We've pinch hit, pinch ran, subbed more guys than I ever have as a coach. I think that's a testament to our depth and
Yeah.
our belief that guys can come in and get jobs done. But going straight into that 3-game set midweek, that's how the rest of the year is going to be set up. So let's get into it. If we lose a game because I've made a bad decision or we put a guy in the wrong spot, it is what it is. We live and we learn. We got a bunch more series coming, right? So for us, I think it's just about getting into that 3-game set format and figuring out who's the pinch runner, who's our defensive replacement. And so far, our guys have been more than willing, excited to come in and compete for that role. We've had no kind of internal conflict yet on, well, this guy got picked to hit before me, or this guy. I think that everybody's just, when they're called upon, they're ready to go, and we've been successful. Guys like Steele Jackson yesterday comes up, gets a pinch hit knock. Eli Benoit's been so impressive in that role. In pressure situations, sticks to his plan, knows what he's trying to do. Guys like John Barnard, I wanted to talk about him just because of the fact that he gets put in as a defensive replacement, phenomenal in center field, and we have to hit for him both times, so he only gets to come in and play defense, right? We have to hit for him because we came up in situations where we're looking for a homer, right? We need offense in a hurry. Never, yes, sir, just keeps doing. We got to continue to do that, continue to find these roles, and then within these 3-game sets, we will continue to get better as a staff. Like I said last week on this, we're going to hit on some of those decisions, we're going to miss on some of those decisions, but at the same time, it allows us and affords us the opportunity, especially when pitch counts and inning counts are smaller early in the year, to get guys out there and see, are they a 1-inning guy? Are they a 2-inning guy? Are they a pressure situation guy? Are they up 5, down 5? So regardless of how it affects the outcome of the game, it allows us to understand and have an idea of who is who, so that later in the year we roll into things feeling like we have a really good plan.
And I think that's really interesting. We talked a little bit about like the offensive capabilities of this team. There is a lot of burst in there. So it has to feel like you have a little bit more of that wiggle room right now. It's like, okay, yeah, we may not want to necessarily always bring this guy out in this situation, but if he gives up one run here, I feel like we can get that back. That has to be at least let some of the pressure off the rest of the guys.
100%. And I think these guys also have to understand Montevallo is a good ball club, and not all the time are you going to come out and absolutely dominate with your starting pitcher, dominate with your middle relief, and dominate with your back end guy. But each of those guys, we had a 2-spot inning, right? One of them was defensive, kind of a couple of miscues put together, and then the other 2 were just one swing. That one swing doesn't happen. We're sitting here talking today, and our guys have a different feeling. The record looks a little bit better. 2-2 versus 1-3 optically. It's like, oh, 500, we're okay.
Yeah.
1-3, it's like, oh, the end of the world. I don't care about any of that apart from continuing to understand, like you said, if they score a run, we can create a run with the best of them. But we have to go be willing to do that, right? And I don't think that it's not that we're willing to do it. I think that's we are making the moment so much bigger than it is. We're making the job so much bigger than it is. And it's my job to try to continue to allow these guys to understand that it's just a moment within a game for a team. It's all, you're a piece of this thing, and it shouldn't come down to you and that pressure. And you can kind of see that right now. And I think if you boil it down, it's based out of a lot of older guys that really truly believe we can go compete for a World Series,
Yeah.
right? And within that, I think comes pressure and expectations, and a lot of that's become internalized. And we got to take a deep breath. And I sounded like a little league coach last night, but I walked through in the fifth, and I talked to our 1, 2, and 3 guys in the order, and 2 guys in the hole, and I was like, look, guys, just have fun. Right? I mean, it's that simple. There's times where we don't look like we're having fun. Enjoy it. Enjoy the competition. Enjoy trying to get the job done. Boil it back down to a simple task and go have fun while doing it. And I think that's what we've got to continue to try to do.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about the pitching this past weekend. What really stood out to me was like a couple of times you had starters get in trouble early, but they moved past it. We had several really good 4 or 5 inning performances out of the starting pitching. How did you feel about that? What were some of your takeaways from that?
I thought they were all phenomenal. Bullpen guys as well. I thought we had 1 bad inning on Saturday. I thought we had 1 bad inning yesterday. Outside of that, our pitchers did a fantastic job of minimizing damage within innings, taking their starts to 4 or 5 innings, which is what they were kind of written in to do. And I think we're going to get better as the year goes, because as those guys are allowed to go 6, 7, 8 innings, now the bullpen guys' role isn't stretched to maybe they're really effective for 1, gets a little risky at 2 innings. Doesn't have to happen anymore, because your starter's going 7, your mid-relief's going 1, take it to the closer, his job is 1, and good luck to you, right? I believe that's where we're really going to see ourselves kind of take that next step. But I thought Roccabaldo was phenomenal. I thought Kai St. Germain, phenomenal, 2 returners that have been here. Roccabaldo start, phenomenal. Arlen Butts, Corey Bonselmeyer, and then Crab last night was electric, right? And then Garrett Locke comes in. That's his second outing. Jonah Cook comes in. First varsity outing, goes out 1, 2, 3 in his first inning. We're going to be fine. But I thought our pitching was phenomenal. Our guys would look in your face and tell you it's not the pitching, right? It's the hitting. And then those guys are pitching under pressure, right? And I think that's part of it. We give up 2 runs. Our roles offensively, again, we make the moment bigger. We just got to continue to do our job. But I was proud of every single guy on the staff, right? Whether it went well, whether it didn't go well. Guys like Jack Lar comes in, gets 2 outs. Cooper Simmons comes out, 3 pitches, punch out to the best hitter in Florida Tech's lineup, came in, did their job. Pitching, phenomenal. I was absolutely pumped about those performances. The willingness for Cooper Simmons sitting there running a chart, right, for 9 innings. Hey, Cooper, go get hot. Come in and 1, 2, 3, smell you. Dugout erupts, right? Jack Lar battled injuries, older guy comes in, does a phenomenal job. The pitching, phenomenal. We're going to figure it out for him on offense. I promise you that.
Now, how do you keep your guys locked in from a pitching perspective when the offense isn't where you want it to be? Like, how do you keep them from losing that focus, maybe putting too much pressure on themselves in that moment? The same way we're kind of seeing with the hitters right now, where they're just looking for a little bit too much.
It's not really up to me. We can say it till we're blue in the face. Like I said, I was thinking about what do I say on this podcast this week to keep it. At the end of the day, it's not up to me. It's up to them. And I think that's more captains, older guys talking, being open, and not putting that pressure on yourself, but again, performing the task. Well, my task right now is to throw a fastball away for a strike. Doesn't matter if we're up 8-0, down 8-0, game 1, game 88. It's to throw a fastball away and execute that pitch. So, again, that's why we preach about task-oriented. Just complete the pitch, right? You don't get it, wipe it off, complete the next pitch. So, I think we're getting there. And no matter what happens, wins, losses this weekend, if we can go out and compete and get that feeling back, playing with joy, playing with passion, playing with energy, playing with communication, right, picking guys up, and just trying to perform the task, I think the results will speak for themselves. But also, I'm more worried about that piece of it. Get the joy back, take the pressure away, and just go have fun on the road and see what happens.
Now, Coach, do you have the guys watching Ted Lasso at all? Because I'm hearing a lot of Ted similar messaging right here.
I love Ted Lasso.
It is one of my favorite sports
that's
shows.
That's the greatest sports show of all time. I literally, my wife used to make fun of me because I was like, it's what the world needs right now. When everybody's divided, it just brings everybody together and it makes you feel good. Never cried in a show that much in my life, but Ted rules. So yeah, shout out Ted Lasso.
Now, is it hard watching Ted Lasso with a soccer coach wife? Is she ever like, how do you not understand the offsides rule yet?
No, I've watched a lot of soccer in my life, so I'm way better than I was when I was a 16-year-old in
Okay.
East Tennessee. But no, soccer, it's constantly on at the house. No, but we absolutely love it. But no, there's a lot of parallels to that show, and I think there's a reason people identify with it. The over the top positivity, the over top belief in guys, and I hope that's what our guys feel, is that we do believe in them, right? I think where we're struggling right now is belief in ourselves, and I think we just got to continue to get better with that and understand the work has been put in, right? You've put the time in. Allow yourself to be successful. Feel like you deserve it because you do. And there's times where baseball's cruel, man. It gets you in here, and I think that's one of those things that we just got to continue to get better with and get the joy and passion back while you're out there playing.
People always forget it is the loneliest place in the world to be when you're standing on the mound, when you're standing at the plate, or if you're the guy who's trying to make the play on the base pass. Like, it's one of those weird situations where if something goes wrong, there is nobody to blame but you. There is no hiding it. So sometimes you just got to do it, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Nike went with just do it for a reason. Just
There
do
you
it.
go.
Turn it off, just do it, and we're going to get there. Again, like I said, I didn't know what type of messaging I wanted to send to our group today. I was thinking about it last night and this morning, and the message I would send to them is, we're really talented, right? We work really hard, we're really coachable, and we're really smart. And I think because of that intelligence, it's allowed us to overthink, maybe affect our emotional intelligence a little bit, a lot of heightened pressure. And the main thing I would tell them is to believe, right? Back to Ted Lasso.
Back to believe and believe.
But genuinely, right? Believe and believe. Believe in yourself. And it may sound cheesy, whatever, but the last thing I would end with is, Michael Roccabaldo, maybe a guy that doesn't talk very much, calm, cool cat, right? Senior. He sent out some messaging to our group about with 2 strikes, right? Our guys went and put up a sign that says "Stay in the fight," right? And we get down to 2 strikes, and I'm saying, "Hey, stay in the fight," hitting our chest. And I watched guys yesterday, kind of, some of them would start hitting their chest, really bought into it. Some of them would give us the obligatory, like, "Yeah, all right, I'm going to stay in the fight." Boom, punch out. And Rock even translated to those guys like, it may feel corny, right? It may not, or you could look up and start hitting that chest, right? And see 40 guys hitting that chest back with you. Now you're not alone anymore.
And then you're fired up,
right?
too.
You're not alone anymore. Right? You got 40 guys that are in the fight with you. And I think that's one of the things, whether we believe in that or not, we have to stay in the fight, right? And by doing that, I'm looking at that group that's looking at me, hitting our chest. Hey, I'm going to stay in the fight for you right here, right? And you just keep winning and keep winning and keep winning, keep winning pitches. That's something we have to believe in. I think that gets us out of our head emotionally. It gets me fired up. I see that I do have this backing, and it's going to mean something to us. So for me, it's believing in staying in the fight, right? Showing that energy, doing it, with our dugout back to our hitter who truly believes in it. Pitchers doing that in that situation where we know there's a big pitch, dugout behind you. Those moments when it's not going our way and we don't feel great, 1-3, going on the road this weekend, stay in the fight, keep hitting your chest, right? Do it back and forth from the dugout onto the field. And that's going to kind of link us back together to where we don't feel alone anymore. But I was really proud of the messaging that he sent, our team captains. Stay the course, stay in the fight, and just continue to get better every day.
Now, Coach, we talked a lot about us. What can we kind of expect to see out of Delta State this weekend? You mentioned they're a big swinging team. They've got the ability to make any game a game. So what else are we watching for?
They're going to have veteran arms. They have a lot of transfer arms. They cleaned up in the portal a little bit. They're going to have some bullpen pieces. They've got some stuff. Offensively, big physical guys are trying to hit the ball at the ballpark, right? They have a lot of returners offensively, a lot of collegiate at-bats in that lineup. 2-0, 3-1. We're going to have to be careful throwing fastballs middle, right? Throwing fastballs away. We're going to have to mix it with them a little bit and sort of play offense on the mound, something we talked about yesterday. I thought we did a pretty good job of. But and then, they're going to have guys on the bump that are going to throw strikes and compete. And they're a really good, well-coached ball club. Coach Batts knows what he's doing. They're going to be hungry. Like we said, 1-3. They want to come out and prove it a little bit, get that taste out of their mouths. But I think you're going to see 2 teams that have a lot of talent. that have a lot of guys that can play the game at a high level. And I think it's going to come down to focus and execution. And if we continue to put that pressure that we talked about, it's going to be tough, or we can stay in the fight. That's within the at bat, within the inning, within your life, within what's going on in your mind right now, within, how do you feel emotionally. So stay in the fight, go out and compete. But we're more worried about ourselves this weekend and the opponent. I'm borderline not even, showing them the scouting report and just saying, go play our game.
Now, final question for you. We talked a lot about 2-0 hitting. We talked about 0-2 hitting. What's one stat that you feel if we would go out and win it this weekend, we're going to win two out of these 3 ball games?
We got to strike out 5 times or less per game. Simple as that. Right, so that's the first one. Defensively, we got to minimize, mental mistakes more so than physical mistakes. Physical mistakes are going to happen, but we have to punch out less at the plate, put the ball in play, put the pressure on the defense. Once we do that, we're going to get more base runners, and then all of a sudden we kind of get to play our game again, right? With bunting, running, things like that. But we have to strike out less. I think we do that. We put the ball in play. We continue to battle with 2 strikes. I think we have a shot to go out and put a good performance together on the weekend.
Coach, the producers are telling me we're at time. I know you've got other things going on right now, so appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you.
That'll do it here for the Walker Bullington Show. We'll be back next Wednesday. Make sure you tune in.